Okay, so I was just talking to my husband about one of the challenges that I had when I was younger, and I had this as a kid, and I also had it like I know that I would do this with him in my 20s, and I would be so mad at him that I would actually follow through. But so here's one of the experiences that I've had. So I've always been like way in my head. Like, I don't know how other people's brains work or whatever, but like I can think through a lot of stuff really fast and get to conclusions very quickly. And most of the time, I know the conclusions I get to, other people just aren't going to understand. And, anyways, I did this a lot as a kid, and people would talk to me, and I don't know how much time would pass because in my head, it felt like forever. But people would talk to me, and I would process what they said. And I remember over and over again throughout my life, people speaking to me and me not wanting to verbally respond. Like, because in my head, I had already, figured everything out or processed things. And generally arrived at the conclusion that it was kind of like there was no point in me actually even saying anything. But I liked people so much, and I wanted to be like friends with other people and have relationships with other people so much that what I would do, because and when I say I did not want to speak, it's like I don't think I even could speak. And I know this sounds weird, but I've got to describe this because like this is a thing that I've dealt with my whole life. It's not, obviously it's not a problem now, but there's still sometimes when I don't feel like even saying anything, but I did not what I would do is I would guilt myself and make myself feel bad enough to force my body, to force my mouth to actually like open the fuck up so that I could actually get words out, because I didn't want to make other people feel like awkward and uncomfortable and stuff. And I had kind of forgotten that this was a thing that I did. Like, I've been working with a psychiatrist this past year to help me basically kind of like restore my memory, because I have a lot of memory issues from trauma I've been through, and maybe some of it was part of masking, but I imagine that a lot of it was because of the trauma I went through, and my brain just wanted to forget things for like peace and stuff. But now I'm older and I'm like, I want to remember everything. So I'm trying to work on that. And I've been having so many memories come back. And it's really interesting because I know in the past, like when I was a kid, like I had blocked memories and they resurfaced. And I remember when they first resurfaced, for the longest time, I was like, okay, was this real or was this a dream? And after a certain amount of time, I was like, okay, that was definitely real. Well, now for me, when these memories come back, sometimes I'm like, okay, is that real or not? But 95% of the time, actually, I think all of it's real, but 95% of the time, I just, like when I remember, I just know, because it's like I can feel it throughout my whole body, and my body remembers it and remembers that feeling. And my memories are more feeling based than anything. I remember details and stuff, but like when I remember things, the strongest sense for me is like whatever feeling was associated with it. So anyways, talking to my husband about this, because we're talking about, autism and all the different freaking, issues we've had or whatever. And, I'm talking to him about being trapped in my mind and having to like use a whole bunch of fucking willpower and like, guilt and stuff, make myself feel bad enough in order to actually make myself speak. And I think he can relate to that because we have a lot of issues, and a lot of those issues are that he doesn't communicate. And I know that he wants to communicate, at least most of the time, but he can't. and we're trying to figure that out. But I was relieved, and we'll have to talk about this more, but I remember like the most recent episodes I can remember of doing this were like during the first 10 years of our relationship, because like when I was younger, you know, I didn't want people to feel bad and stuff, so I would force myself to speak. But during the first 10 years of our relationship, he would make me so fucking mad that I wouldn't fucking care, and I would just not say anything. You know, I just sit there and, you know, I mean, every now and then I'd say something, but a lot of times I just, you know, just let him say it, and I'm just like in my head and stuff. And, you know, I imagine that that's a problem that a lot of people have. And I'm curious about what the actual scientific, like, research on, like, people with autism and stuff says or whatever, because I have a feeling that it's a very similar thing, that some of us are so in our heads and we can do stuff so fast in our mind that speaking is so slow and feels like, you know, painful and foreign sometimes. And, you know, it's probably not an everybody thing, but it could be a some people thing. And, you know, if we can kind of start to kind of break these things down and figure out why this is this and that is that, you know, maybe we can figure out some of the shit. Maybe somebody else has already figured out this stuff, you know, I don't know, because I don't got time to like read everybody's journals and stuff, you know, like I'm more of an experiential learner and a direct experience sort of thing. So I'm just going to keep, you know, talking about and journaling my experiences, you know, because I think that experiences that come directly from someone that deals with something are probably going to be like the most informative and helpful, especially if that person is, you know, like moderately bright and all that shit. So anyways, if y'all know anybody that like specializes in this area or anything, like feel free to like forward them one of my things or something. Because I remember that in 2020 when I was in the hospital, you know, whatever you want to call it, I'm going to call it God. God fucking told me that I was autistic and I was on the spectrum and I was going to help cure fucking autism. And, you know, I kind of forgot about it. And then it came back to me a couple of months ago when I was doing something else. And finally, I'm like, you know what? He was fucking right. You know, I'm totally fucking autistic. And, you know, so much of the other shit that he's told me has been true. So it's like, you know, like I just can't pretend that I don't actually, you know, get messages and shit like that. I know this is a whole other subject or whatever, but, you know, I just, you know, I can't pretend that it's not real just to make some of you like comfortable or whatever. You know, and my best guess is that a lot of us that are autistic, we're here for a reason. And hopefully that reason, well, I mean, I know that reason is to help the rest of you assholes. I love you, but, yeah. So if someone could like help put me in touch with some people that, you know stuff about autism and can like maybe help connect me to things, because God did actually tell me what the cure for autism is. And I mean, I'm a little nervous about it, but actually like somebody else did a little fact checking for me and they're like, oh, well, there is some research that shows that this has promise. And I'm like, well, he told me what the dosage is. So, you know, like, it would be great if I could figure out who to talk to about that, because I kind of feel like the more stuff that I can prove, and I have video from 3 years ago talking about all this stuff. So the more of this stuff I can prove is actually true, you know, like it would be great. Because I mean, not only could we like cure some shit, but, you know, maybe we could actually prove that God does in fact actually exist. You know, and a lot of this other stuff, because earlier this year I was told we're going from the age of believing to knowing. And I think he wants you to fucking know that he's real. Now, let me just put this out here before this video is over. He doesn't care what you believe, and you don't have to believe in him. He just wants you to know that he's fucking real and that he is fucking talking to us, and he's been talking to a lot of you, and you haven't fucking heard him. And anyways, you know, that's part of why I'm here. So, yeah, man, this is fun. Oh, my God. Like, every day is just better and better. And if I can just get my technology issues under control so that I could actually upload all the fucking videos I've been making for the last 3 fucking years, that would be great. But fucking Apple wants to make it difficult to be able to use their shit. And I'm about to swap my phone, but I'm going to make another video talking about that. 'Cause F you, Apple. Like, shame on you. Intentionally making your shit difficult to use with other systems so that people will buy more of your crap. That's bullshit.